Hey, welcome to the RedBlue pod number 40. Um, I hope guys will enjoy and girls. How are you, DC?
Today was an okay day before it quickly turned to a bad day. It's the same stuff I've already told you. Multi-topic talk. It's same stuff over and over again. Yeah, that's the thing with my life. It's basically the same stuff over and over again, and yeah, it gets so crazy sometimes.
I feel
Yeah,
you, man. I feel you. I hope things will get better for you. Like you're a good guy, so good things happen to good guys. So just be patient. Stay strong. And everything should be fine one day. We
yeah.
always have our rough times, and now I don't know if Cole is back. Uh, if Cole is back, just let us know, Cole. So yeah, a lot of things happened. My power outage. So today there's less topic than we were meant to do, and that's my fault because power outage. Well, that's not really my fault, but it's my fault. It's like a bit of both. A bit of the power outage, which is out of my control, and a bit of my fault because the other stuff. So I'm wondering when Cole will be back. um, anyway, so we will start with Gotham Knights, and I am wondering, are you into Titans?
I've been thinking of watching the show. I've only once watched the first few minutes of the pilot. But that's all I've seen. I am interested in watching the show though.
Okay, so I asked that because next week Titan is back. Now, um, you have a lot to catch up on. Because there's already like three season over, and we are half done with season four. And season four, based on what I heard, is the last season of the show because the show got canceled. So, eventually, what could be interesting is you try to watch here and there episode and can get your overall thought on Titans. Cole and I already covered the first three season many weeks ago. We did watch all three season to be ready for season four, and that was like my second time watching, and that was his first time. And yeah, let's hope uh, you can maybe catch up before the show ends. There's like 6 or 7 episodes, so that gives you like 6 or 7 weeks if they don't take breaks. Do you think in 6 or 7 weeks you can catch up?
No, no, there's no
Okay,
way, no way.
okay. So we
Catch up on what?
Titans. um,
Ooh,
so hi Cole, how are you, Cole?
pretty good. Yeah. Sadly, you had power outages. Yeah, I had some too, so I wasn't able to rewatch Aliens and Alien 3. So sadly, I'm not gonna say much about it. But the next week, though, I mean, if I want to, while we're before talking about Predator, I'll say some more stuff about it. I guess because there is a good chunk to go into. I mostly there's mainly just one like thing to say about Alien 3 of just like how it was made and because it's quite a wreck. But yeah, been doing pretty well though. How about you?
I'm doing good. So outside of the power outage that was really annoying, I enjoy my time. Life got better because I got a job and stuff, and that was rough. Like 2023, I feel like was rough for everyone. It started off rough for me, but it got better, and I think it also started off rough for the both of you based on our discussion and stuff. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. I know it. So Um, bruh. This week Gotham Knight. Oh my. Before we dive deep into that, I was wondering. I heard good stuff about the Mario movie, so I was wondering if you guys would like to watch it to add to the discussion, or because we are making this podcast together, and you know, like, if guys are not interested, that's fine, we can pass on that one. But if guys are
I
actually
mean,
interested to watch the Mario movie, we can cover it.
I mean, for me personally, now I've already seen it, and I mean, apparently a lot of people like it. I didn't think it was bad. I just thought it was kind of below average and safe and all that. You know, typical Illumination film, but better than usual though, because they're working with people where they have to actually try a bit now, just like their first film. Uh, but yeah, and I don't have really the most interest of talking about it personally, but if listen, you know, I've already seen it though, and I mean, if you and Marvel DC want to discuss it, then yeah, then I'm up for it. I mean, as long as two people want to talk about a topic, then that's fine.
Yeah. So DC, you are then the person that makes the choice. Are we covering the Mario movie?
I don't think I'll have time to watch it just due to the current situation I'm currently at, and
Me
I
neither.
don't think we'll cover it. So
Yeah,
it's not
maybe when it's on
like,
digital, but in theaters right now, I don't think so.
Yeah,
yeah, I
that
don't even think in digital either. But I'll try. But I'll
Mhm.
try.
no,
I'll
that was
give it a
just
shot.
me. That was just me throwing there. But if Cole is not that interested in it, relying
Yeah,
on us, because
yeah,
we
and
can
also
watch it more than
all the people praising it is kind of annoying to me because there are so many fanboys who yeah, apparently there are so many fanboys who are upset that people don't think this film is amazing. You know, even though it has mediocre celebrity voice acting, not so detailed animation and lighting and all that. Pretty bland, safe story and everything. Yeah, apparently though, apparently if you don't find it amazing though, then you're just a dumbass critic who knows nothing and you didn't actually watch the film apparently. So that's great.
I
I'm glad we've reached this level where people are so triggered over opinions that they have to say this shit. It's like if you're and you didn't actually watch the film apparently. So that's great.
I
I'm glad we've reached this level where people are so triggered over opinions that they have to say this shit. It's like if you've ever said to somebody, you clearly didn't see the film with this Mario film because you got mad at their opinion, then jump off a fucking ledge or something. I don't know.
I laugh because I know exactly who you are talking about. And you're Dave right. You know, like, I don't really trust them when they dislike something, because sometimes they will dislike something just to hate on it, because these are anti-woke people and stuff. But I trust them a little bit when it comes to what they like, because it's so rare that they actually like something that I'm like, maybe it's actually good, but I don't trust them when it comes to
Yeah, well, no,
disliking.
the critics aren't a fan of it, but the audience is. But I mean, it's literally an MCU film in the fashion where, you know, it doesn't matter what flaws you point out or how just unspecial the entire film is. You know, it's a somewhat competent enough film with their favorite video game characters, so they'll just praise it as a masterpiece anyway, and then just try to, you know, harass and trash on anyone who doesn't like it. So, yeah, it's basically the new MCU.
That's funny. So I guess this out of the way as a side topic in the intro. Now I guess we can start with Cole and I favorite show ever made, Gotham Knight. The best thing after She-Hulk, of course. Uh, I guess because I think you will be more positive than us, DC, because so far you liked it much more than us. Um, I think we should start because we are the negative one, and then you can go on with your thoughts because you're more positive than us. How you guys feel about that?
Hmm. Well, I know Cole is definitely can is definitely need some help after watching.
Uh, I mean, I can at least respect them for trying to up the scale a bit and trying to do more stuff instead of just like a trash Titans, drama show the whole way through. It at least tried more things. The execution, well, we'll talk about that.
um, so I thought that was the worst episode we got so far. That was painful. That was awful. That was like, you know, when you thought that it cannot get worse, but it actually gets worse, and you're like, bro, why? Why are you doing this to me, show? I want to like you, show. I'm honest. I don't do 8 watch. That's why I don't review stuff. And I'm just being honest. I just think it's the worst show I've ever seen. Actually, no. The pilot was worse than that. So it's actually the second worst episode, and I know that only because I see the scores, and this week got a higher score, I guess. But oh my, we are on for a very long discussion. So why don't going too deep into it? What were your thought on Gotham Knights, DC?
All right, so my thoughts on. I actually think this is arguably the best episode that I've seen so far. Um, let's go on with the positives. I enjoyed that twist that they did near the end, where it turns out Cressida was a member of the court, and I like how they we learn more about the court in the episode throughout the episode, and you can see how because at first I thought, and this is the episode they're going to introduce Scarecrow, but they actually use they use it, but instead they use it to show the court more. I really enjoyed it. I enjoy how the talent was, and I enjoyed the mystery and all that. Yeah, I think this episode was really really good.
Okay, so I guess now we can go deeper into the episode, and Cole, you can start with your issues if you want. Let's rotate
Yeah.
a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this was actually like every episode so far for this, I've given between a 1 out of 10, which was definitely to pie it, the worst so far, and a 2 out of 10 at most, or 2.5 or whatnot. Yeah, so far the show's looking like a 1.5 out of 10 show. And if the episodes from here on out get even worse than a 1 out of 10 like She-Hulk, but I mean, for me, this was actually one of the this was might actually be one of the least crap episodes for me because again, I like what they attempted and getting more explanations and details and stuff on a lot of things, and there were some attempts that I didn't mind with like characters and all that, but and when it came to the dialogue with the main characters, I would say after the introduction, it wasn't too bad actually. I didn't mind it. Now what still makes it a terrible episode, just like all the others. I mean, again, relies on the execution of all of it. The camera work was dog shit, and there were so many shots and so many edits in this that it's like they almost looked like bloopers of shots of like retakes that were then frames of them were left in by accident by the editor. That's what it looks like. And yeah, any action is shit. The news coverage is so garbage. Oh, and what makes this definitely still a terrible 2 out of 10 episode, which is my highest rating still for any episode, is oh, the introduction was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. That was with the cop running and then the guy shooting himself. Oh, that had some of the funniest pace and dialogue I have ever seen in my life. That was all the and I also love the I love the portion where they look at that book and they basically just parody a bunch of figures like Jack the Ripper, but in Gotham version. That was really nice. I totally did not recognize what fucking bullshit they were doing there. But anyway, yeah, this yeah, it's like no matter what this show attempts to do, it's never gonna be have a good episode for me because the camera work, the editing, and the amateur ass acting and all this stuff will stick in each episode unless they have new people making it. So it's like even if they fix like some of the dialogue in an episode or I like what they're doing in certain things, the execution is still going to be terrible. So it's still at most going to be like maybe like a 3 out of 10 episode, honestly, or maybe a 3.5. Like it's just horrendous. But yeah. What about you though?
Bruh. Okay. If I take the ground right now, we are on for a long discussion. So I will let DC share his dislikes, the things he didn't enjoy in this episode. So that's what did you hated? What did you dislike? What are your issues with this episode, DC?
I don't think I have a single issue because the more I watched this episode, I was like, yeah, there's really no issues with this episode. There's none for me.
Oh, very interesting. Uh, Enjoyable take. So, I guess since you don't have any issue, let's start off with mine. We are there for a great trip. The music isn't needed. Hell yeah. Not funny. The dialogue. Filler rant about being tired. The dialogue is bad. A secret society that keep giving coins to everyone. What the fuck? Like every week we find new coins. Backstory told instead of shown. They try hard to be funny when it's not. Another love triangle with Blondie and the brother. They want us to feel sorry about sad backstory, but I feel nothing. The greatest detective getting trapped by a mole that got caught by kids. So what I mean by there is, um, the girl betrayed Bruce, but the kids kind of figured it out, and Bruce was meant to be the greatest detective. What is going on with that? Am I nitpicking too much? Um, the more Talon show up, the less scary he is. Like, it was a threat in the first two, or I should say 3 episodes, but this week it was laughable. He got shot down by a freaking crossbow shot. Are you kidding me? Like, I feel like they used him so much that his screen presence is not as felt, and he felt like a freaking monster killer creature beast. He felt like the alien, but human. But this week he felt like a parody. Like, I was like, bruh, he's just running after them with a sword. There's no way it's not a parody. There's no way nobody was laughing on set. I'm sure the bloopers are amazing with this. Um, so, um, the betrayal didn't feel real because the characters aren't good enough or actors. The sister feel like the insert from the writer. I ate most of her dialogue. When I say the sister, it's like the girl that complain about freaking rich and how lucky they are. You guys know who I'm talking about, right? When I say the sister, like the one with long hairs, like curly ears, not Duella, but the sister. I can't remember their name. That's how bad character are. I can't even remember their names. Bro. Uh, do you guys hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. Just I have to be muted for a bit.
Do you know which character I'm talking about when I say the sister?
Yeah, you're talking about Harper. Harper. That's
Yeah,
her name.
yeah. Okay, that's her name. Okay. Um, not funny dialogue from the Joker daughter. Plot twists don't feel earned, aka court wanting Turner alive because they want him to betray the others. Well, it said earlier the court knows everything. Oh my. This show is painful. So, Cole, did you miss any likes you may have? Cole? His neighbor is disturbing him, maybe. Cole? Cole! So I guess we can move on with you, DC, while we wait for Cole. What would be the things you liked about this episode?
Mm. I like the plot twist. I think some of the development, some of the scenes were, especially the dialogue, especially when it came to the old lady scene, it made it more anxious. There's so much I enjoyed about this episode. I enjoyed the bonding between the characters. Yeah.
Okay. Is there more? Because now we are in the deeper discussion. So if there's more you'd like to share, that's the time.
All right. But yeah,
I guess you said everything?
yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
had it.
So I had a few likes because I'm honest. Um, I like the opening scene, even if Cole didn't. The opening scene with the guy going crazy and stealing a gun and then shooting and killing himself. That was actually surprising. I was like, oh my, the first scene is actually appealing and the first scene actually hooked me into that episode. But then a lot of issues happened. After that, the investigation stuff was decent. I feel like the investigation aspect of the show is good. At least they nailed that part. But the rest is so bad that even if it's one good thing, I feel like it's the diamond in the rough. Um, neighbors need for something. Be right back. Exactly what I'm talking about. His neighbor are really annoying because his neighbors, they know he has something on Tuesday, but they still F around and bother him. Bruh. Um, so, yeah, the investigation stuff was decent, as I said. RV as a character is still a standout character. He's the only character I like. Well, maybe I like a little bit Duella, the Joker daughter. Um, um, So yeah, RV is just amazing. What do you think about RV? Do you like RV? Do you dislike RV?
Mm. I like Harvey's character. I like how he is a very political character, and I think, yeah, I think he's one of the best characters ever behind the group.
Yeah, I think he is much better than anyone in the group for me. um, I actually enjoyed the cliffhanger because I'm like, oh okay, that thingy there is a zombie and he's coming back. Um, so yeah, I guess now we can move to score because Cole said is on score, and I don't think he has much more to say because we repeat ourselves a lot. Me, I'm a bit more specific in my notes, as you can see. But yeah, my grade out of 10 would be 1.5. Uh, that was really bad. That was painful for me. The only worst episode we got was the first one. I thought the first one was a 0.5. Literally. Like, I felt forced to give points. Just to not sound like someone that is not honest about what he's watching. Um, but this week, 1.5 out of 10. And the funniest thing about that, it was actually better than The Flash.
I don't blame you because even I would say Gotham Knights was better than The Flash.
Everyone does. The Flash went so bad. Anyway, what? Well, before we move to your score, because you got the higher score, Cole said the same thing as me, 1.5 out of 10. What would be your score, DC?
10.
Oh, that's good. So two tens in a row. Very interesting. You see, this is why these discussions are amazing because we get other perspective, and we don't sound like haters because you're there. um, thank you very much for being honest. Anything else you'd like to share about Gotham Knight before we move on to the best show ever made?
Not for me.
So I guess Cole is still occupied with these freaks that lives beside him or above him or under him. Um, The Flash, season 9, episode 8. Oh my, that was rough. Like when I say rough, I say rough. Um, what did you think while going too deep into detail?
Oh, I feel the same. It was horrible and it sucked.
It's sad because I really want to like the show. I'm the biggest fan of the first two seasons, and I thought season 3 and 4, even if they are really flawed, they had good things in them. Season 5, you know me, it's my least favorite. I really ate the guts out of it. But I feel like season 9 is on the right track to be worst. um,
That's exactly how I think about season 9 as well, because I used to think season 2 was the worst, but now I'm like, well, even season 2 had its good moments, and I'm like, maybe season 9 could actually be worse now. Because, yes, season 2 had issues that I had problems with, but this episode, I mean, this was the third episode in a row I just quit really quickly out of it. And that's because I was like, what is this? Like, oh my god.
it's a Legends of Tomorrow episode. Eric reloaded his name right in his review. Like, that's all I felt when I was watching. I was like, man, it's like he took inspiration from a show that went downhill fast to make an episode of The Flash. And I'm like, we could not get closure for Legends, and we get this. It's like, for real, bro, you're wasting 3 episodes like that to save some money, but you cannot even deliver something good on a story standpoint. If your focus is on the story, you don't need to spend that much money. But hey, it's Eric Wallace, and we need Chegra, right? We need it. People like Chegra. No, we don't. It's it's really, really, really bad. Season 6 for me started off amazing, but it went downhill fast for me. And I know that's your favorite season, and I can see why. I can fully see why, because that was still a watchable. For me, that was a very average season. That was like on par with season 4 for me, but it was actually a bit better because of the first half. And then we got season 7. We all know that season 7 is a another low point. I think it's the most hated season among the community for good reason, for very good reason. And then we got season 8. I thought season 8, just like season 6, was very average from start to finish. But then we get season 9. And so far, the only episode I liked was the first one. and we are 8 episodes in. And the first one is probably going to be the only episode I ever rewatch in that season. This is how bad this season gets. I feel like this season is probably as bad as Legend 4th or 5th season for the matter. And it's really sad for me to say that because I want to like the show. I defended the show the best I could. And I was invested for 9 freaking seasons. And if we count the Arrow stuff on top of that, it's 11 season or 11 years of superhero stuff I'm invested into, and now you're telling me like this is the best you can do? Really? Really? Why? Was he really thinking? Why nobody in the writing room thought it was bad? I don't get it. They are on that bubble. They are out of touch of what the viewer wants. And I will say this: Legends of Tomorrow was a really bad show, but at least they knew the audience they wanted, and they knew the audience they had, because that was aimed at that specific audience. I feel like The Flash, they don't even know who the fuck they want to attract to watch their show. That's the biggest sin with The Flash. Like, who is your target audience? Is it superhero people? If it is, why we never see the Flash around? Like half of the time. And don't tell me it's budget, because you can be smart. Like, they save money. Like, sometimes the Flash just start running and we don't even see the lightning effect. That's to save money, right? So if you do ways like that, you can make superhero stuff without spending too much money. I will give a good example from season 4. In the prison, when Barry, before he was like in the meta wing, he used his power many times. And it wasn't spending that much money, because sometimes it was just quick reflex, like in the fight he had with some inmates. You can do stuff like that. You can be creative. But no, instead we get a sitcom with Chegra. This show has become a parody, like, and it's not a good parody because they don't know their audience, or they think they do but they don't. That's a big rant about Eric Wallace time on the show. Um, I guess now we can uh, dive deeper into the episode, and I hope Cole will be back soon. Um, so, what are your issues with this episode, DC?
Oh, I have a lot. For starters, I think this episode, tone-wise, was literally the most ridiculous it could have been. The whole Star Labs crap, when they're like saying, "Oh, it's just a prank," when in reality, it just makes it cringeworthy. It's like, just say, "I have no idea what's going on here," because that I don't know what's going on. Like, seriously, the fact that they have to say prank shows that they don't even know. It's like you said, they don't know their audiences. I'm like, am I watching a cartoon show? Because this is stuff I'd see on Peppa Pig, this kind of stuff, and I'm like, why does the Flash have it? Like, can you just say, I have no idea what's going on here? No idea. The fact that they don't even know how to write "no idea what's going on here" shows how bad the writing is. But the worst part was after there was a Chegra scene, which I skipped because I was like, what, I don't care about Chegra. I just don't. Later, when the blue wave passes by, Iris goes like, another prank, and that was the moment I was like, I'm done watching this episode. This episode was too cringe-worthy. Like, I'd rather watch Peppa Pig all the time than watch this episode, and that's really sad, actually.
What's really sad?
We are into the
Oh,
Flash right now, and
yeah.
Ah,
what was
nice,
sad
okay.
about the Flash? You missed like the big intro. I will make it
Yeah, that's
quick.
fine, but
will.
I mean, I have something to say about that too. Of why I'm sad, because I'm like, this is the last season, and you're wasting your time with so much shit like this.
I
This
know,
is
right?
what we are saying, and this is funny because I will cut to the essential. What I basically said, legends they knew their audience, and they were aiming at it, and they hit the target for the audience they wanted. The Flash, they have no clue what kind of audience they want. They just do what they think is funny or what they think is good, but they don't know. Like sometimes it's a sitcom, sometimes it's a superhero TV show. It's all over the place. It's not consistent. And this episode was the biggest disappointment for me so far. I think this is hands down the worst episode the show ever had. Like, I can't think of an episode that was worse than this.
Yeah, I
Ever.
mean, yeah, this episode, I only wrote down one word for my notes. You want to know what it is?
Bad?
Yeah, boring.
Oh, man.
This is just. This is actually just like a garbage sitcom episode. This is a nothing episode.
Yeah, exactly. And this makes me so sad. I defended the show the best I could, but I cannot defend this shit. Is there other issues you'd like to share, Cole, since you're there?
I mean, just bad writing, bad acting, just bad character dynamics. Just what's the point of this whole episode? I don't even really remember what they did because it's just talking and talking with no substance at all, and then the end. So it's yeah, I can't even remember what happened. I wouldn't even know if any other flaws, but yeah, this was. I mean, putting aside how it's pretty much all just that this episode, it was done horribly anyway. So, like fuck.
DC.
Uh,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, you were not done. Keep going, man. I
No,
like
no,
it.
no, 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 no. I was just have no. Uh,
I like to
I was just,
hear you
no,
roasting.
I was just, no, I was just trying to think of something else, but I couldn't. That's all. That's all that noise was. Yeah, continue.
DC. Any other issues you didn't mention yet?
Mm, I think I'm good.
Okay, so it's my playground now. First thing, the only change on 100 years to Starlab is adding a statue on front of it, in front of it. Now, maybe that's a nitpick, but I feel like in 100 years, much more has to change, right? But they were so lazy and they wanted to save money that all they did is, oh yeah, let's add a freaking statue in front of Starlab. 100 freaking years later! If you didn't want to change it that much, why did you told us, oh yeah, it's 100 years later? Why it's not like 10 years later or 20 years later or I don't know, even 50 would be more believable. But 100 year, all that changes is, oh, now there's a statue. Wow. That's like laziness like 2000. That's like when I've seen that, I was already out of the episode. I was like, we are in for a very very bad episode. Am I crazy to say that? Am I?
You're not. I mean, now you brought that up, I'm like, wow, that makes this episode worse because you're telling me in 100 years, Star Labs doesn't get a change. Like, wow, 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 I'm actually shocked. It's like nothing changes in Star Labs. Oh well, let's just hope if nothing changes in Central City in 100 years. Let's just hope it stays the same.
And
Oh my
that's funny
god.
because just among the 9 seasons we got, Starlab has changed, man. It was destroyed. It was repealed. Like the Starlab we got right now, it's very similar to the first season because it's still that like the same set. But I remember seeing Starlab being in construction sometimes. So
Yeah.
there were some changes. They were small, but there were some changes throughout these 9 seasons. And now you're telling me like 100 years it's still the same. Bruh. You think I'm too stupid to see that.
Wow.
Not funny despite trying so hard to be. This feels like Legends of Tomorrow. The pacing was godly awful. Another time loop! It's not really a time loop, but it's a time loop. Like, it's a hidden time loop. And you guys know me, I like the first episode. Even if I'm not the biggest fan of time loop. But they did it again. But this time around on a very, very bad episode. Barry speaking about going in the future to fix things. Didn't he learn from Flashpoint or the Saboteur team? Didn't he learn from that? And of course, they acknowledge it later, but it's like, bruh, why are you doing this if you know it's wrong? You acknowledge it, you say it's wrong, but you still think about it. I'm like, bruh, it's so stupid. Barry used to be smart. Under Eric Wallace, forget about that. He is dumb. Chester Allegra! Oh my! Bruh, the worst thing about this Eric Wallace era is that forced relationship that doesn't make sense any sense, like, at all. Pacing again. It's not funny. Barry telling his secret to people he doesn't know! Oh, let's clap. Filler episode, not funny. Keon, weird dialogue about mentor. Oh yeah, she was like praising, oh, she is a strong female mentor and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm all in for female empowerment. That's the thing I like, you know. But when you implement that in dialogue the way you do, it's trash. Don't do that. Because you make it look like it's unique. But if you want like equality and stuff, don't make it unique that, oh, look at that female mentor, you know. Like, if you want to normalize something, don't make it unique and special when you speak about that. And the kind of dialogue Keon had want to make something that should be normalized into something unique and great, you know. I don't know if I'm clear enough on that point. Do you guys see where I'm going at with my point there?
I do. I do. Yeah, I know where you're going at.
It's
Yeah.
just not natural. Nobody in real life will say that kind of stuff, except for maybe some Twitter crazy people. But even there, I'm sure they would have better dialogue than this shit. Pet Talk fixing Allegra. Bruh. I'm like, bruh, no, Cecile, get out of this house.
Oh my god.
Bruh. This was terrible. This episode is just really bad. And this is funny because as I was watching, I I flipped my head around just to find good things about it. Because at first I thought it would be a 0 out of 10, straight up. But then I was like, there's got to be something enjoyable about it, right? Right? Let's go into the only thing I liked. I admit, now Barry and Iris' relationship looked more believable than past season. Better chemistry between the characters and the actors. Now, I've always said it about The Flash. Iris was great as a character in the first 2 seasons, but I never bought into their relationship. It didn't add up for me. They had no chemistry, and it just doesn't make sense. Their couple doesn't make sense, and most of the time, like, it's not believable. Like, I will give a good example. Superman and Lois. Clark and Lois feel real. They feel like a true couple. But then you got Iris and Barry that are just like, they're the cutest around. Do you know what I mean? Do you see the difference? I'm sure you see some difference. Even if you're not the biggest Superman and Lois fan, you must see what
Yeah.
I'm going at, right? Like,
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Clark and Lois, they make sense. They have chemistry, and it's believable for them to be in a couple. But for me, Barry and Iris never made any sense. I don't know if it's the writing of their relationship or the actors themselves, but it never added up. Like they were each time they were kissing, I didn't buy into their relationship. The exchange they had, it feels so not natural. Like during the entire run of the show, but in this specific episode, like the worst episode of the show, I will actually praise that because it feels more real than ever. In this episode, they bounce off each other well, like a true couple would, and it's kind of shocking. Like it took you 9 seasons to have chemistry with your co-star the way you have, and it's in the worst episode of the show. So that's the only thing I liked about this episode. The only. Um, so Cole, did you add any likes about this episode? If you're still around, Cole.
Pretty much said the likes. I mean, I don't. I can only say that the character conversations, unlike some other episodes of The Flash, weren't cringe at least. They were at least watchable. It was just boring and empty and nothing. So yeah, there's my like. So some of the costume design, I guess, wasn't bad. And yeah, okay, that's it.
And you, DC, is there anything you liked about this episode?
Nope, there's no likes.
Nothing. Okay. So I guess that leads us to the score out of 10, starting with DC.
0. 0 out of 10.
I cannot blame you. I feel you. Cole, what would be your grade out of 10?
Either like a 1.25 or a 1.5.
My grade would be 1 out of 10. That's hands down the worst episode of the show, and I said it, Gotham Knight was better than this week. And it's shocking.
I mean, for me, I hated the one episode more with that one fucking bitch centered around her, whatever her name is. So yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't even need to say her name. You know who I'm talking about.
yeah.
It's the one episode where she randomly shows up, and yeah, it's the episode about her basically.
Yeah, it's this show is a disappointment. It's very sad, and you know what's the worst in this? They are in a 3 weeks break, so they are back at the end of April. That's the worst thing about this shit.
Oh, there's no Flash episode this week.
Yeah, they are on break for 3 freaking weeks, so
Oh, well, I need to edit the thing then, I guess.
they aired 2 really bad episodes in a row, and they dared to take a freaking break of 3 weeks. Now, I'm hyped because Oliver is back, probably as Spectre when the show comes back, and I think we are in for finally a good episode. It just took like 9 freaking episodes. Anyway, any closing thought on that horrendous episode that should never have been made in the first place?
No, not me.
Same, not for me either.
Okay, so I mark down the timestamp. 0 the Flash. So, the third topic. A show I really like, and now I'm not being sarcastic. It's actually a good show I enjoy a lot, and I think it's not as good as Stargirl when Stargirl was doing its 3rd season, but it's clearly a really good quality show above most other CW show. And I don't want to trash the network. Like, let's be honest, the network is not the best, you know. But that's how I see it. So Superman and Lois is the next topic. What did you think of it? Without going too deep, DC.
To be honest, I don't know what to think of this episode. I mean, it was not a horrible episode, but I mean, it wasn't incredible either. I don't know what to think of him. That's my overall thoughts without going too in deep.
Yeah,
Okay.
for me, I think it was overall well done and better than other episodes, possibly. I actually like the acting a lot more in this episode than other episodes, and the dialogue and all that. Had some interesting stuff, but it was a kind of a little forgettable to me though. Like there's nothing that really stood out in this episode as a super memorable moment, but that's kind of been this season overall though, and this kind of show overall for me. I think Superman and Lois is a pretty good show overall, just nothing that's like memorable or like excellent as Stargirl was, at least season 3 Stargirl for me. So yeah.
But that's very funny because you say that, and I can see where you are coming from. But I will say this: um, I thought, without going too deep, it was the weakest episode this season. But there's a big but to it. It had the best moment we had this season, and this will go to the deeper discussion. I think this episode had some weak um, writing here and there, but it had amazing moments for me, at least. So I guess we can start off with the issue um, Cole as outside of not being memorable and
Uh, yeah, I didn't really like the music, and I thought some of the oh, what do you say it? The yeah, the scene where Clark Kent kind of like interrogates that guy in the restaurant. I thought that could have been done better. I thought that was a little eh. Some of the action I kind of liked, but I thought it was better in like episode like 3 or 4, whichever it was. So yeah, God, I don't really know what to say too much outside of that because again, I don't remember too much. So I didn't write down any notes for this episode. It was kind of so it's a little I'm a little kind of blanking on it, but I mean, if I can think of anything else, like while I'm hearing you guys discuss it more, then I'll let you know. But yeah.
okay. I knew DC.
All right. Yeah, I have some similar issues to Cole. I definitely did not like the Clark and Terry confronting that guy Emmett in the restaurant because I'm like, well, wait a minute, wouldn't that make the people suspicious of him? Because I mean, that's like me making a Batman show where Bruce Wayne in one episode just beats up a guy in a bar in like a restaurant. He wasn't drunk or anything, and pretty sure at that point people would be suspicious. I'm not sure why people wouldn't be suspicious unless that's what happens in the promo for next week. Um, Other issues of this episode, I have to say, some of them were like what some of Cole's. I did think this episode was very, very forgettable. Um, I feel like the whole multiverse doppelganger stuff with with John Henry Irons mean the learn more about the real John Henry Irons on the Earth and meeting his sister. I felt like that same stuff over again that we see on the Flash, we saw on Arrow. Um, it just gets too cliche sometimes. Um, Other stuff I didn't like about the episode. I felt like the whole Jordan haircut storyline. That's just what am I watching? I guess Lois's character arc in this episode wasn't that good either because of how Clark just wants to do the best for her and give her the best time in the world, like make sure that she has like a rest day, and she kind of gives him a lecture. I'm like, well, what do you want? And I'm like, What do you want him to do? Beat you? No. Yeah, it's like I have so yeah. I'm not sure if I'm nitpicking, but I felt like those were like major issues for me. Again, this episode was not bad. I mean, it had some good moments. Um, I'd say the Sarah and Lana storyline was like the only storyline I was actually interested in, and I kind of wish that subplot was more used. And I guess the opening scene was good, where with a forest fire scene where these two guys are just driving, and a tree almost falls on them, and Superman catches it, and Superman's like, "Are you gonna say thank you?" And they're like, "No," and he just drops the tree on people just to leash out his anger.
Now
But
I will
yeah,
respond something because you mentioned Jordan Ercott. At that point, it was more like linked to Clark's speech about responsibility and wanting to change, and also the secret identity because the general was like, someone will end up like finding out you're Jordan because you have the same haircut, and I think it made sense to a point where later on Clark says you need to be more responsible, and it was also to showcase that sometimes Jordan is like rebelling against adult like normal teenagers, and the consequence of it being like Clark being angry at him and telling him you will apologize, and I think that was a lot of things that link into each other, and it was important because the
mm,
general makes a point. He has the same haircut.
yeah. I
But that's
guess
just me.
you. Yeah, I guess there's some themes of responsibility. Just I don't think I like the execution of it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's that's fair enough. So, any other issues you'd like to share before I move on with my issues?
I don't think I have any. So you can go on with your issues.
Okay, so I don't have that many. Even if I thought that was the weakest episode, I only had two issues. The first one, the trash father is one dimensional. I know his purpose. He was just there to give a villain to Clark and the family and stuff. And I actually liked much more the bar scene than the both of you. And we will cover that in my likes. But um, I thought the father character is terrible, and I know they exist in real life, and Superman and Lois really want realistic characters, and that's part of the charm of the show. I think they are well done, but this character, there's just like nothing redeemable, like nothing. It's just a void. He is just a bad guy for the sake of it. And when show do that, I point that out. When movie do that, I point that out. Even if I see the purpose of it and how realistic it can be, it's still an issue for me when it's just one dimensional. Like, why don't you show us another side than just that villainous side, And I see, as I said, I see where they are coming from and what they want to do with that character, but I just don't think it's a good character. But that's just me. The other issue would be pacing. I will be honest here. I felt like the pacing this week was a bit off, but not too much, but a bit off. Enough for me to mark it down as an issue. Um, anyway, these are my two issues, and there's a bunch of things I liked. Um, you did brush off a bit of what you liked. You can go on with what you liked.
Yeah.
You didn't mention DC.
All right. So some things I liked were I liked the forest fire sequence. That was my one positive. I just felt like it gave some tensions to build up later in the episode. And I just like the Sarah and Lana stuff with the whole slapping stuff. That was like for me the best part of the episode.
Yeah, that was a good part. I will admit. Like usually that kind of drama I don't care about, but I think in this show they are smart about it because there are still characters in the show, and I feel like it's really relationship driven this season. It's the most relationship driven season the show had. Um, so do you have any other likes you didn't mention?
Mm, no, not really. Didn't have that many likes.
Okay, and you, Cole, what would be your
Yeah, no, nothing else. I pretty much said everything.
okay? So I guess now the ground is mine. There's a lot. When I say a lot, it's a lot. I enjoyed a lot the opening scene. The fire in the forest was amazing. Felt like a Superman show, and that's probably, if I remember correctly, that's the only superhero stuff we get in the entire episode. We still get to see Superman later on destroying the blood, but that was the most Superman stuff we have seen in that episode, and that was well done. That was amazing. Felt real, well shot, well directed, and everything. Superman saving the day always feels good. Jordan in the field with Clark. Now I like that because it shows some kind of growth. Early in the season, Clark didn't want Jordan to come with him. He wanted Jordan to train more before he could come. But now you can see it has grown a lot off screen. I think it's a bit sad that a lot of that growth they got was off screen. But I can understand, like, they are on a budget. That's maybe because that may be the reason why a lot of the growth between the father and son superhero life was off screen. But I still like that growth because it shows that the character are moving pieces and they are not stale. Like some other shows, they are stale. They just maintain the statu quo. The perfect example is like the Flash. Some of the character didn't move for like 8 episodes, aka Allegra and freaking Chester. That's the kind of stuff. Um, Next up, funny Lois and Clark exchange. That was with the popcorn and stuff. Lois is very smart, and as I said earlier in the Flash part, I think Clark and Lois have crazy chemistry. They feel real, and each scene they share is good, even if they are eating freaking popcorn. um, Clark dealing with the kids fighting over the hoodie. It felt like two brothers. Like I my experience with that is more like movies and TV shows because my younger brother is much younger than me. I never really lived that, but I can tell there's some kind of rivalry between brothers around the same age. So I do think it's well grounded there. Now I don't know about your experience, DC. I don't know if you got like brothers and sisters your age. Do
I
you?
do, but they're both younger than me,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's just yeah,
It's a bit like me, another word, like, right?
yeah.
I've seen like brother and sister having fights in real life because I got cousins, but um, yeah, I think it was well done. It felt like a family moment, you know. There's a lot of funny stuff in Superman and Lois. Sarah and Cal's scene where they speak about Sarah getting it, Cal learning about Lana slapping Sarah. Cal is amazing. I understand why they keep him in the show. John Henry Iron is the best supporting character the show has. John Henry Arion is just amazing. I like the actor, I like the character. He is like the backbone of the show. I feel like he is the Joe West of the show because what he brings to the show is just great. We also got the Henry and Clark exchange about the other John Henry from Clark Earth. Because John Henry is basically from an alternate Earth. I know you haven't seen season one, so yeah, that's what's going on there. Um, Jonathan getting slapped by the trash father was weird. Well, weird. It's in character for the a-hole that the father is, but I didn't expect that coming. And when it happened, I was like, oh, really? Wow. Very interesting. Um, After that, we had a funny scene. Later on, we got more John Henry Aaron. I like that. Grandpa and Jordan. I enjoy the crap out of General Lane. I think he's the second best supporting character. General Lane is just very good, and I relate him. I relate to him the most. He is socially awkward, and I am, so I can relate a lot. That's why I like this character in most of his scenes. And the point of their exchange was also to showcase that he is older than Jordan, and it's obvious because it took that fight and that argument for him to realize that teenager, they do care about their look, and changing the haircut is kind of hard for teenagers. And this shows that grandpa is more than just one dimensional. It feels like a good grandpa that wants the best for his son and the family and stuff. So I like that interaction, that exchange they had. Lois finding out about Jonathan getting slapped. Cal and Lana talk. Clark and Lois talking about Jonathan Black Eye. Very emotional talk. Funny Jordan appearance. Clark talking to General about the blood. Sarah and Cal talking about the full story. Emotional scene. Lois meeting the trash father was also amazing. And Jordan could just step in and do something, but Lois told him to not do so. And in that moment, we see that Jordan has some growth. Because in the first episode or the second episode, I can't remember, but Clark told Jordan to do something and Jordan didn't do it. He didn't listen. But this time around, Jordan listened. So Jordan got a lot of growth off screen. And this is not that amazing that it's off screen, but this is growth nonetheless. So I like that. This is great. This is good character moment because your character learn, your character change, human change. So your character feel much more real than a Flash character where they don't change for like 4 seasons. Um, Next up, emotional reaction from Candice when she learned that the father slapped um, Jonathan. John Henry Iron meeting Bruno Mannheim. That was amazing. What do you guys think about Bruno Mannheim starting with DC?
Hmm. I definitely do like him. I do like him. He's definitely one of the few things I've been enjoying. But yeah, I do like his character because he's more than just your typical crime lord or gangster. There's actually something to him, so it's something I do like.
Yeah, I think he is well acted, well written. He is a freaking threat. The way he calls out Superman in the first episode was amazing, and the way he is in control of everything when he fight John Henry Arion was great. What did you think of Bruno Mannheim this week, Cole?
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. That was my favorite part.
That scene was amazing. We then see John Henry Aaron not accepting this and just escaping by jumping and having his suit on and stuff. John Henry Aaron is just amazing. He carries the show on his shoulders with Superman, of course, but man, I like so much John Henry Aaron. He is my favorite character. I will say this. I actually like him more than Clark. He's my kind of character, you know. Um, he is now able to save his sister, or I should say, his sister from the parallel Earth. Um, so Iron is like going after Bruno Mannheim. And he's like, I will beat the crap out of you. Just wait and see. Um, so yeah, um, I liked the bar scene a lot. I liked it because it showed that Clark is in control, even if normal people would eat the shit out of the guy. And he doesn't want to make a mess, and he says, I'm sorry to like everyone. I just thought that was a great scene to show us like the father side. He is a great father, and he respects everyone. And he's like, man, you're gonna deal with me if you don't leave us alone, you know? And no husband would accept what the father did. But Clark doesn't accept it, but he doesn't go overboard. He doesn't lose control over it. It's just like, I know what you did, and if you do it again, trust me, you will regret it. And there's also the feel that they really want to not mix Candice into everything, and that's why they don't really press charge and stuff, because they don't want the daughter to be mixed up in this. I just thought that was amazing. Uh, Clark is Superman every day. Even if he doesn't wear the suit, he is Superman. And that's what I like. Um, Candice living with the Kents was very interesting. It was emotional because you can tell she's kind of happy to get out of her father's shadow. Um, Clark addressing the way Jordan treated his grandfather, and the new suit tease was very interesting. So I thought, even if it's the weakest episode, I thought it had great moments. Bruno Mannheim, man, I think he's the best villain we got so far in this show. As much as I like Tauro in season 1, Tauro had some kind of deja vu aspect to him. Like, it wasn't unique, but Bruno Mannheim, I feel like it's the first time I see that kind of threat, man. It's the first guy that has no physical power that we know of, that just calls out Superman, and that make John Henry Iron go mad and angry and stuff. Bruno Mannheim is just amazing. Um, well casted, well written. Uh, yeah. What would be your grade out of 10, starting with Cole?
Uh, I'd give it like a 6 again. Lower 6 than one of the others, but yeah.
Okay. And you, DC?
A 5 out of 10.
Okay. So, I'm the only one that enjoyed the crap out of it, as expected. I give this episode a 9.5 out of 10 because the two issue, they only took off half a point for me. This is still a standout episode despite being the weakest we got so far. I'm very excited to see what happens next. Any closing thought, anyone? I guess.
Not for me, no.
Okay.
Same.
So, I guess now we can move to Alien, starting with the first Alien. So, what did you guys thought of it overall without going too deep into it? I leave any of you to start with this.
It was incredible for me. Yeah, definitely classic.
Yep, for me, way better than I remember, and I'd say it was pretty enjoyable and pretty good.
I'm in between the both of you. Um, I I I enjoyed it um, mainly because I had seen it younger, and now I understand more the
Yeah.
idea of it, and I was more invested than the first time I've seen it. Like I've seen it like maybe 13, 14 years ago. That was one of the first few horror movie I've really seen. Um, so I thought that was fine. Um, so I guess we can go deeper into it. I think I will be the more negative among us, so I will start off with my negative. The lightning is way too dark. Maybe that was on purpose. Maybe that was the era it was made in. But I
Well,
didn't.
I
I
mean, for me, I think it kind of fits the atmosphere, and it also makes it like realistic. And I think like not. I mean, you don't have to see like everything going on, and and then some films that do it as poorly. I think this did it properly though, and it also made it so that the alien, you didn't know where it would come from. It did a good job at that, and it made you like definitely expect it to come from different areas, and just it did a really good with like tension for me. But I don't know. That's just me.
I see where you are coming from, but yeah, lightning kind of damaged the movie for me. Because it's more than just once. Because otherwise, it would not be in my dislikes. So too many characters was my second issue. I feel like they added so many characters only to add gruesome deaths. That's like, oh yeah, you have that whole crew, they will all die except for Ripley.
Uh, I mean, honestly, for me, I mean the gruesome deaths, they really weren't like, even for their time, it wasn't really like. I mean, it was 1979, so it's like sure, but there was still more than that. Like, I wouldn't say they were like that gruesome, or at least most of them. Like, and there were some even off-camera ones, like one of the main characters there in the vent, who I thought was going to show up later on, because usually when a film doesn't kind of cuts away and doesn't like show it, there's a reason for it. Like 99% of the time, usually means they didn't actually die in a film. That's like the number one rule of filmmaking. But in this case, that wasn't the case this time. So that was like the 1% time. But I mean, for me, I mean, yeah, it didn't wasn't really like that gruesome, most of the deaths, and the ones that were, they were they weren't just like gore, they were iconic and really well done. Like everybody knows like the first death in this, with like the coming out of the guy's stomach. It's like one of the most iconic deaths of all time.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were only like 8 people on the ship. That wasn't like too many. And the thing is they were able to give long back stories. We got to know all of them. They spent like 40 minutes with character build up for each one, so we knew all of them. And so for me personally, if you do that and you do it well, then I don't mind how many characters there are in it. And it's also, in my opinion, an issue that you'll see with some of the worst alien films later on in the newer years, where they have a lot of characters, but unlike this film, they don't actually do any. They don't give us like 40 minutes of like connecting with them, and like watching them. So when they die, it's like you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, for me, that's why I didn't have an issue there. But
Uh, I can't even remember one character outside of the droid and Ripley. That's all I thought were the character were bad. The robot and
oh really?
yeah, I can't remember any of these characters. They're like
Really,
the
there
only
was the
cast
main
member.
captain guy. There was the main captain guy. There were the 2 repair people. There was the other female. There was the Australian guy who got the with the stomach thing. The only one that wasn't that memorable to me, honestly, was the yeah, he was so unmemorable that I kind of even forgot who he was. But it was the guy who was usually with the Australian guy. But yeah, and then there's the robot guy, and then yeah, Ripley. So
The way I see it, Ripley was the only smart one, and the robot was just a tool of the Federation, whatever. Yeah, like I don't care about these characters. Even if they tried to make you care for, it didn't work for me.
uh,
Next up was it was weird that the guy realizing there's organic life didn't want to run away or something. I say that because you're in the unknown planet and you see organic life. Man, run, bro, run. But no,
yeah,
you want
but
to mess
yeah.
around and play with this. I'm like, bro.
Yeah, but you see that is what humans do, though. Even people, with that experience, they will, like us as humans, even with those professions and experience, they will do that stuff stupidly, and it shows. Especially if you don't know what you're working with, like don't know how dangerous those things are. So yeah, thinking like it's just an egg, it's not even like alive. So yeah,
Maybe I'm too cautious. Maybe I'm too smart.
I don't
I
know,
see
but
this shit, I
yeah, but
run. I don't stick around, I run.
yeah, I mean, again, in my opinion, like each character in this film, like shows it's like a different portrayal of like what somebody would do. It like each character is like shows every portrayal of like different people's actions, and then with the survivor being the smart one that everybody should take, but not everybody does because we're humans with flaws. So
Yeah. So next up, um, they didn't listen to Ripley warning. I was so bothered by it. I was like, because they didn't listen, things will go crazy and they will all die because they didn't listen to the woman.
yeah.
She
Yeah,
was
but again,
right.
when you have somebody though that's kind of like manipulating them easily, so they think like it's nothing too serious, and yeah, it will happen.
She was right to say no. No, she was right to say no to open the hatch. The guy searching for the cat alone. That's big brain, bro. I was waiting for him to freaking die.
Yeah, like again, that thing is and that was really stupid. But again, you have to look at the once again you have to look at like the firstly the time period of when this came out. This kind of came out like around the time when films with those tropes wasn't very common. And then also another thing you have to remember is they didn't know the size of it after it ran away. They still thought it was small. So he
um,
thought, whatever, it's not a big deal.
Next up, plot convenience of the guys coming in time to save Ripley from the robot. I'm like, they just appears. There's no seed. There's no scene where they walk around. They're searching for Ripley. They just show up in time to save her.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do think, like they showed in other scenes, there are like ventilations where they can hear other characters. Like that's how she also got to, when when they heard screams, her and others, got to them afterwards when they were dead. So they and she was like screaming and stuff while was getting attacked. So yeah, it's not too unrealistic for me, but
Okay, so I got over my issues. What are yours, Cole, if you have any?
uh. The only big issue for me, again, I kind of just explained why none of those are really issues for me, and they kind of work for me and with the film. But if there's any actual issues for me, though, it would probably be that yeah, just how do I say certain tropes maybe they could have done without, but even for its time period, but and I feel like they could have I think they did so later in the newer Alien films, but I would have liked to see more scenes of like the aliens sneaking up on them, through like the ventilations and stuff. Because
Yeah.
it's really good. Like again, maybe it's just because we see the modern the adaptations of it now in like in video games like Alien Isolation, which you should definitely play if you haven't yet. It's definitely an amazing game, but yeah, I would have liked seeing more of that. But other than that, yeah, no, nothing much. This was amazing film for me, and I thought it was really effective and in its execution, and it's really just like Blade Runner, which Ridley Scott also did, and the two Blade Runner films are, I guess, in the same universe. Like I guess the planet they were going back to is the Blade Runner planet. This is all connected.
Yeah.
Same thing with Predator, I guess. So yeah, there's that, I guess, but in different years and periods, I guess. Yeah, there's a lot apparently that I look on this list that's connected. So I guess we might watch them all, might not. I don't know, but it includes a show. We'll see. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was really well executed, and there's actually some. Trying to find it. There was one interesting tidbit about like the history of something with the characters that I just wanted to bring up if I can find it somewhere in my notes anywhere. Right, yeah, so I mean firstly this is considered one of the greatest films in pop culture and one of the best sci-fi and horror films out there, kind of on par with Star Wars for a lot of people. Just want to throw that out there. But anyway, yeah, so you might I'm just trying to read through the notes. Apparently, yeah, I read through some of this stuff already. So, yeah, shit. Where is it? Where's the thing that I was gonna say in these notes? Where the hell? Oh, right there it is. Yes. So basically, this is again in 1979, and this is kind of like the first, possibly the first, if not, it is the first kind of strong female character depicted on screen like this in a movie,
I will
and
say
one of the
this:
greatest.
she is a strong character that happens to be female. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's the well, yes, and it's the greatest, the most revolutionary of all time for like a strong female character. And here's the thing: the reason for this is because the original idea for the movie in the script that Ridley Scott had was at the end that he did when he wrote it was that there was no gender rules in the future, with them being kind of like non-binary, basically. That was in the original script, and them all acting kind of the same like that. So that's why it kind of ended up being that. So it basically ended up being that way accidentally with her character.
Wow,
Yeah, yeah, and
that's interesting.
yeah. So I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, again, I opened my notes up, and again, I guess I remembered all of them while talking because I pretty much said all of them already. Like the development before getting into the action in it, and yeah, the shot. So yeah, I don't have too much else to say, I guess, because I kind of said everything already. But at least with the first film. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's really well done though. Have no issues. It does everything fantastically, and the set design is really good. It's all memorable for me, and yeah, really revolutionary for its time. So I guess we'll let Marvel DC talk if he has
Yeah.
anything to say.
Yeah.
What would be
Yeah,
your issues?
I had no issues with the movie. I thought the movie was really enjoyable. Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting. No issues. So I'm the outcast here. Very interesting. So there's a few things I did enjoy. People waking up and having a breakfast in space. That was actually a scene where they were pretty much all likable. I didn't really bond with any of the characters, but I like the intent they had. Just spending time with the crew in the hopes you connect with them, but I didn't connect with any of them, sadly. But that's
Yeah.
basically
I
me.
mean, you didn't like the captain character or like the black repair guy. You didn't like those two characters.
I didn't care. It's not that I didn't like. I thought they were all likable, but
Because I thought they had some great charisma there. The other repair guy and like the other female character were a little and, but those two I thought were really good. But that's just me, I guess.
Yeah.
They were likable, as I said. I just didn't really bond well with them. I just said, okay, whatever. These people will just die during the movie. That's how I've seen them, and I was like, why should I really connect with them
Uh,
if I know they die?
yeah, well, I mean, this was funnier than all of She-Hulk though, just for those jokes alone about the bonus.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Shield writer
It's
was
sad how a
just
film
waiting
like
for
this is
season two.
funnier. It's like, how do you fail at being funnier than a fucking alien film that's all horror and thriller? Holy fuck!
Never, it never gets old to roast the crap out of Shield. It never gets old.
Yeah.
Um, Reaction from the crew when they realize alien species may try to contact them. I actually thought that was believable. The reaction of everyone. The crash landing was fine. The investigation to see what's going on there was good. The sound effect and the music were great. The eggs were cool. The jump scare were good. The dilemma around the guy's decision to break protocol was somewhat interesting, even if later on we realized that it was all planned to just crew is expendable and stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
and you'll see. Not to really, it's not really spoiling it because it shows you, it kind of explains to you at like literally the start of a future film. But there is a similar character in like one of the newer or newest Alien films to that robot character that's kind of like on the side of and yeah, not really spoiling saying that because it kind of explains that to you at the start of it, basically,
yeah,
and the whole way through, and it's pretty obvious. But yeah, in that newer film, it is so painfully obvious, like everything they're gonna do with that character and every twist and stuff, because we've already seen it before in the 1979, and it's like Ridley Scott like gave up and didn't even try, and the screenwriters. But in this one, it's done really well, and even after seeing this already and seeing the newer film where it does that stuff, it was still a little bit of a surprise for me because it was done so well.
the breakfast that killed the guy. The crew trying to kill the alien was probably my favorite part of the movie. The guy dying, crew expendable line and reveal. Now, I will say that that reveal was like maybe half an hour before the true ending of the movie. So this means the last half an hour ish, I didn't care. I actually tapped out of the movie. I will be honest here. Um, so I still kept watching, and I know all everything ends, and how she's like very slow and going into the suit, and then she airlock the alien, and that becomes like some kind of trope. Um,
Yeah, hey, the cat didn't die though.
yeah,
Yay!
and
And
I
yeah, I mean, it wasn't a trope at the time. No, it
yeah,
wasn't. Just
but I just didn't care that much. The crew expendable line and reveal was like the last thing that I was like, oh, that was cool, that was neat. Like the rest of the movie, I've still watched it, but I was kind of turned off by it. It didn't like, I didn't hate it. The ending, I thought that was fine, but that's the kind of stuff you're like, it's fine. It's not good. It's not bad. It's fine. Um, so that's how I feel with the Alien movie. So, are there any likes guys have and didn't share yet?
Hmm. I guess I'll go on because I haven't really been on for the alien
yeah,
topic.
we've already said all of ours, so you go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, things I liked. Well, I like you said, I like some of the character dynamics. I like the bonding the characters have before they all get murdered by the xenomorph.
Yeah.
I like the xenomorph creature. I think the VFX, even for its time, while not the best, I feel like some of the special effects, especially when they do it in dark rooms and you have no idea what's going on, and yeah, yeah, they do really well. I enjoy Ripley's character. I think she was a very strong character, even if she was in a crew of guys who literally enjoyed beating her, especially that android guy.
Yeah,
Um, like the twist that he was an android. I think it made it more shocking as well.
yeah,
Um, yeah, yeah. I also enjoy how this film just takes place entirely in space. There's no Earth communication. I think it makes it more believable
yeah.
because, yeah, yeah, that's another thing I enjoyed. Um, I don't think of anything else. Oh yeah, the alien planet. That's another thing I enjoyed. I enjoyed like because even an alien's gonna show up, just you don't know how, and yeah, and I like the suspense, the anxiety, and the tensions and the drama that build up for the xenomorph popping up later in the film. And I also do like how the xenomorph doesn't really show up that much. Like, I know it could be boring for someone that just wants to watch a horror movie where just the alien goes around killing a lot of people, but I like how they didn't show it because it was kind of meant to build the suspense. Um, it's kind of like how like you make a horror movie, but to make it more terrifying, you don't show the thing more often. So
Yeah.
that's another positive I have. Yeah,
Do you have any other things you enjoyed?
I think I'm done for now.
Okay,
Yeah.
I actually forgot to mention something. I didn't mark it down, but I thought it more like an afterthought after seeing all three movies. Uh, Ripley was probably the best part because part one crashed. My computer crashed. Um, so yeah, replay. You are a good character. We need more character like you in modern cinema. You are more a character than a gender. That's why you are so good, Ripley.
Yeah, yeah, you're not She-Hulk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. You don't keep telling us I'm a woman. We have
yeah, and
eyes,
also
we
if you
can see.
remember, again, the reason why we started doing these Alien films, by the way, and are now doing the whole kind of universe and then other franchises was because we decided to do David Fincher's filmography, but he did the third Alien, so that's why we decided to watch the first and second and third here, so we can continue with that. But there was also another thing that reminded me though. We haven't moved on to the second yet, but yeah, I just remembered the so yeah, Signori Weaver plays her, and yeah, she's also yeah, she plays the one scientist character in the first Avatar, and then kind of like she plays her daughter with the CGI in the second Avatar, and yeah,
Yeah.
in other films, and then remembering that just reminded me of how James Cameron directed the second Alien film, and David Fincher the third, and it reminded me how yeah we kind of so we've watched the second Alien film he did, and we've watched most of his other films by now accidentally, like Avatar 1 and 2. So I figure we should eventually just finish the rest of his filmography and watch stuff like Terminator 1 and 2
Yeah.
and Titanic. And
Yeah.
well, so I'll write that. So I'll write that down. But anyway, was there anything else you or DC wanted to say about?
Not on
I'm
my
good.
part. And this is good apparently. So rating for the first one. What would be your rating, DC?
Probably a 10.
Okay. And you, Cole?
10.
Man, I'm a bummer here. 6.5 out of 10 for me. So the issue I had did weighted a lot in my score. I don't think I will ever rewatch the first one, even if I like some of the aspect of it. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm not the biggest horror fan. Or I like more psychological horror stuff like Black Swan. That's more my cup of tea than this. But I thought that was fine. Like in the trilogy, like it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the best. It was just fine. Um, yeah, that's how I feel about the first Alien movie. I guess now we can move on to Alien 2, except if guys have something else to add.
And not me, but you know.
Yeah, same.
Okay, now Alien 2, I will start off by saying this. It was my favorite of the three. Um, I enjoyed it quite a lot. Um, it was very entertaining. So, I guess we can get your overall thoughts, starting with Cole.
Yeah, this was amazing as well. This is, yeah, for me, either another masterpiece like the first one, or just slightly a tier below, like an A plus plus. Like this is a incredible action film
Yeah.
and still thrower and all that stuff. And yeah, Signori Weaver was amazing in it. I believe she got like an a lead actress nomination for this role. Honestly, should have probably won, but yeah, I really love it. Just the action, the horror moments, the set design again, just the music, the atmosphere, just everything about it again is incredible. Yeah, sort of just the same stuff as the first, but yeah, it's a slightly different version than the first Alien film, which is good. Good to mix it up once in a while. So yeah, yeah, and honestly, they should have stopped with the franchise at this point. But we're gonna watch them all anyway because we're gonna suffer. Because yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have seen Troll 2, and we have seen She-Hulk. So yeah, yeah, we can suffer through anything.
Yeah.
You DC, what are your overall thoughts?
Um, it's like the first one, though I do prefer the first one just slightly more. Because I have one major negative with the second one with
Yeah.
Alien. But I'll get that when we get into the negatives. It's
Okay.
just one issue for me, but yeah.
Okay. So I guess now we can dive deep into it. I'm the most negative one on that one. I'm sure of that. So I'll start off by saying the trope of going where you shouldn't go. I'm so tired of this shit. When I see it in a movie, I hate it. I thought sometimes the humor felt forced and it wasn't that funny. I also thought the humor didn't age well overall. Uh, Too many characters, just like the first one. I was like, they will just all die again, just like the first one. And I was right. The general not listening to her again. It's like, bro, are you kidding me? You're doing the same shit again. All convenient that only one child survived. Yeah, it's very, very convenient. Uh, Villain among them is the bad guy trope. I don't like that. The guy that only wants money and he's like, I will get rich by using these two if they get impregnated and stuff. I really despise that character. I think it's one-dimensional and annoying at the same time. Burke is the weakest part of the movie. The human villain, like basically the only guy I know his name is like the worst part of the movie. So these are my issues. What would be your issue, DC?
My main issue, um, was I think it was the film was too much like the first one in terms of the story,
Yeah,
because I I I looked at both and I'm like, this is exactly the same one as the first one. You have a villain, a human villain, that being Burke, who's kind of like among them. It's basically the same move film,
Yeah.
which in my eyes, I think it kind of made it feel way too repetitive. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still an enjoyable film, but I think it was just very similar in terms of the story.
Yeah, I agree with you. I see where you are coming from. I will add more when we go to likes and why I think it's better and it's a bit different than the first one. But I can see where you are coming from. And you, Cole, any issues with this movie?
Not really. There was just like one thing that kind of was illogical, character decision with her, but that's about it.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess we can. Well, what was the illogical thing for you? I'm curious.
Again, I didn't rewatch it, so I wouldn't know, but I'm sure Marvel or you will like say it, but I'm pretty sure it might be the giant thing Marvel DC's talking about. Just one illogical thing that she kind of did to try to against the xenomorph that was could have done things differently.
Maybe the thing that was illogical for you was when she decided to go after the xenomorph to save the child.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that was it. I don't know.
I did
yeah.
thought about that a lot. I was like, wait a second. Is it does it feels real or is it bad writing? So the more I thought about it, the more I was like, maybe she sees the kid as a second child and a chance on having a child, and she wants to
Yeah,
save that chance. Maybe
yeah.
that's the
Again,
defense to it, but
that's kind of the that is kind of the thing. It's sort of like a symbol to for it. Like I've seen it done in many films, like especially this one called Platforms on Netflix, which was kind of mediocre. But yeah, I've seen it many times. It more so just got something she did while she was with her, or you know, trying to save him was illogical. Some decision made.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I guess now we can move on to the likes. Um, there's a lot of likes. What I enjoy the
Hmm.
most about this is the way they deal with trauma, because she has
Oh
a
yeah.
trauma, and that's what makes that movie different than the first one. Because here they deal with trauma. It's more than just an horror flick. I think it's a action flick with drama in it and trauma in it, and that's the charm of that movie. Um, I like the team fighting Ripley. Ripley waking up in the station, realizing it's been 57 years. Now, when I was thinking about that, I was like, sci-fi may be able to explain it, and they did explain why she didn't age and stuff. And I was like, okay, I will actually give it a pass. It's sci-fi. You need to suspend disbelief, and they did try their best to explain why she didn't age and stuff. Um, Next up, Ripley Nightmare. Ripley losing her daughter felt real and very sad. And man, that actress did a great job. Sigourney Weaver was doing a good job, and she had good material as well. Um, the family finding out about the ship was somewhat interesting, even if I don't like the trope. Oh, let's go visit this. um, Now, there's a scene there. They told the viewer time has passed by showing one of the kids sleeping while waiting for the parents. Here it's showing instead of telling, something the Flash should do more often. The army begging for her to help out. Ripley being suspicious. Ripley dealing with trauma. Ripley learning about the robot is very likable. I will admit it. The robot was actually the second best character in this movie, and we will speak about the robot more by the end. So the mission itself was interesting because this time around we are led to believe they need to kill them all. And I like that aspect of it. I'm like, maybe the company will actually try to get rid of these stupid aliens. Um, so yeah. Next up is um, the atmosphere of the hostile world. It felt just like the first one, but not as bad because human has been like making the air more clean for human and stuff. The kid not talking felt real because the kid is also dealing with trauma. I mean, she lost her whole family, like, and all of her neighbor and stuff. The search for the alien was very interesting. Ripley being smart about how dangerous the weapons are. So this is when they cannot use explosive and stuff. I like that aspect of it, and that added tension and stuff, and that shows us a strong character that happens to be female, and that is actually more brain than brawn. And this is a big difference with modern cinema and movies and stuff, because now the woman, like Ripley herself, she's not the strongest, but she's the smartest, and that's part of the charm. And this is what we need more often in 2023. But that's just me. Maybe I'm sexist. I'm sorry if I sound sexist, but I'm not. Like, I think it's a strength to be smarter than the men's, and it's fine. We all have our strength, you know. Um, Next up, we're oh yeah. Um, Next up, the acting was good in the overall movie. I don't speak a lot about acting, but when I do notice how bad it can be, I also notice how good the acting can also be. So that's one thing. The characters are likable, just like the first movie. The team saving Ripley and the child. That was on the ship. Um, that was much later. I actually also forgot. The plane blowing up was cool. But yeah, here I don't think it's a plot convenience, and here's why. Ripley did nice. She wanted attention, and she even created a fire to tell them, "Whoa, there's something going on there." Um, so yeah, because of that fire she created, it didn't feel like a plot convenience that the team happens to come here. They know because there's a fire. They know because she did nice. They know because you know what I mean, right? You know, guys, what I mean, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, Next up, um, Burke getting killed first was the most enjoyable shit ever. I'm like, good, he's dead now. The human villain died at last. Trying to escape, the guy self-sacrificed. It's more like the robot. He kind of knew it was very dangerous. I like the fact that this movie is much more adrenaline fueled than the first one. It's much more action driven than horror driven, and that's what I liked. Because it's a sequel, I don't want the same thing. Ripley searching for the child. Ripley finding the watch. Walking into a nest. Everything burning. It's beautiful that a robot almost killed her in the first movie, and now a robot saved her in the sequel. That goes back to the robot being amazing. Mika versus Alien. You see, she's not the strongest, but she's the smartest. She knows she cannot really fight the alien, so she used tool that lets her fight the alien. And that ending was much more memorable than her just hiding in a suit and then pushing the alien in the lock thingy there. Um, Emotional ending with the robot deaths. So, man, that movie was just much better for me. I liked much more the second one than the first one or the third one. So, anything else? What did you like, DC? I didn't ask you.
Oh, basically, what I liked was I enjoyed the suspense, the dynamics, the action. I enjoyed. I think, but the main thing I enjoyed was the theme of family. I think that's kind of what separates it from the first one. Was the first one was a more what's going on here kind of thing, but the second one is more of a family action movie, which, to be honest, I think nobody would really expect from an alien movie, but
Yeah,
I have to give credit for that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
Eh, not for me.
And you, Cole, is there any other likes or dislike you may have forgot
Yeah,
about?
yeah, not for me either. Again, I didn't. Sadly, wasn't able to have time to rewatch this and the third, so won't be saying too much. Honestly, I'm not going to be saying too much as the first half of the stream till the second half either. You know, the whole way through, kind of, because the last topic after that is Legends of Tomorrow, which again is kind of just the same old shit we
Yeah,
repeating. So,
I almost
so
forgot about Legends. You're damn right.
yeah, yeah,
It's
we're
the
gonna do that at the
first.
end. But hey, you know, it looks like this is gonna be the first stream that Marvel DC is gonna stay the whole way through because you know we'll probably just stay there for Legends of Tomorrow talk, and then we have Alien 3, which he saw. So hey,
Yeah. I man, you're damn right. There's Legend. I almost forgot about these.
yeah, because it's so bad. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
luckily though, this is the second last season and just one more. But yeah, I was gonna say though, since we're doing 5 films right now, I was gonna say after Legends of Tomorrow though, we're only gonna be doing like because we're looking at the shows, it's the Flash, Gotham Knights, Superman, Lois, and Titans, and that's only like 4. So I don't think that's like really fair in comparison. So what I want you to do is after Legends of Tomorrow ends, which will be next week on April 18th. If you want to, you can pick one right now, but just pick another sort of like comic book or superhero or CW show to do season by season that you wanted to, something like Supergirl or Arrow, something like that.
Yeah. Or actually, what I thought we would do is uh, the Flash season one.
Okay.
To get ready to get ready for the movie, we will cover all 8 seasons. And I know
Yeah.
Marvel has seen all 8 seasons, and it's mainly to have your take. And I've seen it recently as well, so
Right.
my memory is fresh on most of it. And maybe like DC will fill in some of the
Yeah. I mean,
gaps,
sadly, it's confirmed Grant Gustin isn't going to be appearing in it, but
but that's fine. We got 9th season of him.
yeah.
Uh,
But okay. Anyway, I'll add that to the list started on April 25th because
yeah,
yeah, for the next thing, I'm just gonna have like 5 weeks or 4 weeks in advance the whole schedule now. So yeah, so it's easier. But yeah,
that's
I'm just gonna add that
perfect.
to it. Yeah.
And by the way, starting season 3, DC, I will let you also choose probably because you're still co-host and part of us. Um, you will be able to choose like each week at least one topic, either a movie or a TV show. So think about what you really want in season 3. It's still 8 weeks away from now because we are still in season 2, and I like to have like the podcast having like 24 episode a season. So think about what you'd like to for the podcast us to watch and us to cover. So start thinking about it because eventually you will get to choose topics as well, DC. So yeah, Alien 2. What would be your grade out of 10? Starting with DC.
Hmm. Alien 2.
Yeah.
9 out of 10. 9 out of 10.
Okay. And you, Cole, do you remember giving any
Yeah.
specific grade?
Yeah, this is a 9.5. So just slightly below the first Alien.
Yeah. For me, that was a 7. Now, the first Alien was a 6.5, and now it's a 7. For me, it's a big gap, because 6.5 for me is mediocre at best, and 7 is average. So, um, when I say 7, it's average. It's enjoyable for me. So, it's a big gap for me. Point 0.5 is a big gap. So, yeah, I think maybe eventually I will actually rewatch this one because I quite enjoyed it. Um, I see all of the texts I burnt down and I enjoyed it. So, um, let's move on to Alien 3. What did you thought
Yeah.
of it, Cole, this time around?
Yeah, I mean, this was yeah, not the best film. Now, look, at the time, this was received pretty poorly, but and it still is. But looking back on it now, and with a lot of people, it isn't as bad for them as at the time. You know, people have like forgiven it more for some things and have appreciated more of its tone and more aspects it tries. But yeah, so this is the one Fincher did, and this was his debut film as a director, right before he did Seven and other films. So this was
Okay.
yeah, this was pretty much a production disaster. This film, it wasn't his fault. It was just a production disaster, and yeah, I don't know if you guys read anything like about it. If not, though, then after the stream, I would recommend like looking up articles like of about its production disaster, and also mainly, I would recommend watching this video. It really does a good job covering it all. So yeah, I would.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, this is so yeah, definitely watch that after the stream. But anyway, okay, that's fine. But yeah, I'll carry on. But yeah, this was had a lot of execution issues because of that, and with the scenes stuff and the production design and the costume design and all that, and the acting wasn't the greatest. The story writing wasn't the greatest for sure, but overall there were a lot of good elements as well. And again, the tone was really nice. At least we tried to do some things, didn't work with all of them, but yeah. Overall, I thought it wasn't terrible. I thought it was decent looking back on it. And when you watch that video and look up things about it, it's pretty incredible how this even turned out to be somewhat of a decent film, like not a garbage film, just from knowing all this afterwards. Yeah, this is. Yeah, I don't have much else to say, but because yeah, I haven't rewatched it recently, but so I'll let you talk, DC.
All right. I personally think that Alien 3 is actually my favorite out of the three I've seen so
Whoa,
far.
really? Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Interesting.
Maybe multi-topic. Well, then as well. Damn. Okay, I didn't expect that.
Me neither.
Yeah, so things are gonna get really interesting now.
Yeah. So, okay, I will say this. It's my least favorite. I didn't like that one. Um, yeah, it was rough. So,
Yeah.
because we are, well, I am a bit more negative. I guess I will start off with my
Yeah.
dislikes, and then
I
we
mean,
can
yeah,
move
I
on to
pretty
the
much
stream.
said all my things, so you two can go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, though, after the stream, watch that video though if you can. I'll pin it. But yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, this movie was rough. I've seen it this morning after work. And I was like, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. Let's watch one half before I sleep. Bad idea. But hey, we do what we gotta do, you know? I wake up, I finish the movie after doing my laundry and stuff. My, the intro took forever. The intro was too long. Plot armor go nuts since replay survived a crash. The guild that undermined the ending of the second movie. Now, I didn't mention really the ending because I actually forgot to mention the ending, but I like the idea of, yeah, um, you know, she lost her daughter, but she got a new one. And that's kind of the ending of it. Like, she started the movie with losing her daughter, and at the end, she kind of got a second daughter and stuff. But now, no, that second daughter died. So it undermined the ending of the second movie, and it's so sad when sequel do that. I just don't like that. Next up, pacing. So I see pacing twice. So this means I got bored with this movie. And I will mention something else. It's not really a dislike because maybe it's my website fault and not really the movie fault, but that was really hard for me to hear what was going on. I missed a lot of the backstory, a lot of the religious things, and when they were whispering all the time, I missed a lot. Because even with max volume, the volume was shit. Now, I won't hold it against the movie because maybe it's the website and the movie itself doesn't have bad sound like that. But that bothered me a lot.
I can kind of see where you're coming from because I actually watched this movie on my TV, and even then I wasn't able to hear some parts that well. But yeah,
On your TV, is it with like the cartridge or the disc?
no, I don't think it was anything to do with any of it.
Oh,
Uh,
so it's basically websites, just like me.
I watched it on my TV because I actually have all four from the first one all the way to the fourth one,
Oh,
and yeah, I
so
was yeah
since you got the movies, you got the true movie, so you have seen it on the true movie.
yeah I've seen yeah
So, because you have seen it on the true movie and you see what I'm getting at, I will
yeah
actually take away points there. Because I thought that was just my website, but since you got the physical movie and the true things, the sound is shit. The sound is
yeah
shit, so it's not my website fault. Okay, I see. I hate this movie even more. um, Look, I don't usually hold that against the movies when I don't know. But now I know that even on the true movie, it's that bad. So I need to say it. I mean, they do sound for movies. You need to be careful. You need to care for the sound. It's more than just a visual. It's also something you can hear a movie. And when the sound is that bad, man, it's really rough. Um, Next up, the crazy guy just being a plot device to help the alien. So I speak about the guy that was in the nursery, and at some point he's like, "Oh yeah, I will go open the door." I'm like, "Bruh, why are you doing this to me, movie? Why? You treat your character as stupid plot device that make no sense." Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy. Um, So everything I mentioned happened before I took my break to sleep. Uh, Lucky me, when I woke up in the last like 40-ish minute, I had no issue. So, man, adding the sound make the movie really worse now for me because the sound was trash. I don't tend to say that. I think it's the first time on stream, or maybe the second time on stream where I say the sound, man. The sound is an issue. Um, so, um, I guess we can move on to likes. What did you like about this movie, DC?
I think I enjoyed the story, and I feel like the human conflict actually makes more sense in this film than in Aliens, which was just more repetitive. I think in this one, they're not after the alien creature. They were actually bad pretty much from the beginning. It's kind of similar to The Walking Dead, mainly the prison stuff, because yeah, there's a prison stuff both in the comics and the show. But I feel like it did well. But I'm mainly referring to the Walking Dead comics, and I think the alien stuff kind of, I could actually see where some of the Walking Dead writers kind of got their ideas for some of the characters they made. Specifically, this one character in the comics, his name was Thomas Richards. Let's just say he's probably one of the worst people you want to ever hear about because the things he does is messed up. But I feel like that's kind of what I feel I enjoyed about it. Alien 3 then just took on the idea of having thieves and just murderers because that would just be generic. They actually went on actual rapists and child molesters, and I think that made it more realistic because you would more often hear about thieves and murderers, not really the other two. And
Yeah.
I enjoyed that they actually established that. That's one aspect I enjoyed. I also enjoyed the whole religion aspect. I don't believe in God, or I'm an atheist, but I do enjoy how they do the whole religion thing. I think it makes it more suspenseful for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also enjoy learning about how the xenomorph came, apparently because it's from the queen, apparently on the near the end of Aliens, and takes place after a few months after Aliens. And yeah, I do enjoy it. I enjoyed Ripley sacrificing herself to save the crew
Yeah.
members or yeah. Um, I also enjoyed some of the emotional dynamics, like what happened to the crew and to the crew of Aliens, and even if they got killed off, it makes me enjoy the emotional scenes even more. Yeah.
So, is there anything else you'd like to add before I move on with my likes?
None for me.
Okay. So the new planet feels different than the previous planet. I like that. That's a good strength. Log entry on what happened was really good, because it shows that show don't tell. It's really good. Like it takes good use of showing parts of the story and making you read and care and be invested. Next up, Ripley wanting to make sure the girl drowned. That's actually very smart. Here again, Ripley's strength is her brain. That's not her brawn. And I like that. That's how you make a good character. The cafeteria scene was interesting, even if I didn't understand half of what the fuck they were saying. The scene of the accident. That's right after the guy was splattered by the fan, the big thingy that was doing circle, the one that got caught in pieces. Um, the guy saving Ripley from the attacker. I was glad this happened because I'm like, if everyone is just bad people, what's the point? But there's some good guys that want to do good stuff. And I like that. The plan to burn the alien down feels interesting until it backfired on them, but that's fine because that's part of a movie. Everything blowing up, Ripley being the host of one of the alien actually fixed what I thought was a plot armor. Because at first I was like, the alien doesn't kill her in the nursery. Like, the alien kills everyone except Ripley, but later on you learn that she is pregnant of one of the aliens. So I'm like, oh, okay. It's actually the way they were going for the story, and I was fine with it because they turned what I thought was the plot armor into a good plot point. Um, Next up, the survivor going at the furnace because that's like their last hope to kill the freaking alien. Ripley meeting the alien. Ripley telling them they are expendable for the company. That's a good throwback for the first two. The group trying to kill the alien. the people dying one after another, the team killing the alien, Ripley killing herself because she doesn't want to get used, and she doesn't want to be the reason other people die. So she doesn't trust the company for good reason. And yeah, I thought that was a great ending for what was a very mid movie for me. And yeah, I don't have much more to say. If you guys are fine with that, we can move to the score. Cole,
Yeah,
PC.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Cole, are you there, buddy?
Yeah. Sorry.
We can move on to the score, or you'd like to add something else?
Yeah, no, I'm done with all that. So yeah.
Okay, what would be your score out of 10, Cole?
Uh, I'd give it like a 5 out of 10, which is shockingly high considering all the flaws and the production, how it went through.
Yeah,
But yeah, Fincher did enough in areas to make it not a bad film. So, at least for me.
yeah. I gave this movie a 6 out of 10. At first it was a 6.5, but now that I got proof that it's not my website and it's really the sound of the movie that is wrong, I give it 6. Sound is as important as the visual, what I see in the script
Yeah,
and stuff.
audio design, musical score, it's all very important. And that was actually why, a big reason why, while I really enjoy the film, I don't think it's like a masterpiece or anything as other people, the Spider-Verse film, because I thought the music did not fit the scenes and was kind of cheesy, and then the audio design was also poor, and some of the pacing and writing, but you know, a lot of people don't think or care as much about those things, so they gave that and other films a 10, but for me it's very important as well, just like story and visuals.
Yeah. What would be your grade out of 10, DC?
A 10.
And you said you liked it more than the first one. I'm
Yeah.
actually curious. Why did you like it more?
Another thing I think I enjoyed was how how whenever they have the end sequence with the xenomorph just chasing them,
Yeah.
I feel like even if it's a POV shot, you can just feel the intensity when the characters are just like screaming and yelling like, "Oh, it's behind me!" It's like you never know how close they can be.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and not to mention that they also have a dog that quickly dies, so that's another positive for me. I really like dogs. I
Oh,
don't have
that's
good.
sad, bro. I like dogs.
I don't.
Yeah,
It's
the dog dies but the cat lives. I love that.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I don't.
I guess that closes off the first three Alien. And is there anything else you guys would like to add before we move on to the best show ever made?
Oh fuck. Surprised that isn't an episode of it because they like titling it off of shit. So you know, and there's a film called The Greatest Show Ever Made. Some like circus film that won Best Picture like fucking decades ago in like the 50s. So yeah, but anyway, no, that's it. But I mean, did DC want to stay for this or?
Legends of
Uh,
Tomorrow. Do you want to stay for Legends?
yeah, I'll stay for Legends.
That's the
I'll
last
stay.
topic.
Yeah, it's fine because we don't have much to say about it anyway. Most of it will be multi-topic. You know, bringing out his bucket list of issues with it for fun,
Which
and then
I think is
reasons.
all of our issues.
Yeah, because yeah, Legends of Tomorrow season 6. Because once again, this is just the same as every other season ever since the season 1 or season 2. It's all been the same, but of just different quality ranges. Now, for season 6, this is possibly the worst yet for me. This was garbage from start to finish. I hated this so much. There was no point to any of this. Not that there was to other seasons, but even more so this time. I didn't like any characters at all. Visuals were garbage. Costume design were garbage. Production design were garbage. Once again, the only decent thing about this show is the idea, premise, potential of all of it that you could do a lot with, and especially with like the different time periods and the setups and everything. It's sort of like a comic book version of Doctor Who. So it has, and I don't mean that in an insulting way, because Doctor Who was an amazing show. Well, I say was. Don't look at the newer seasons, but yeah, it's basically, some time traveler, going around and with some people into different time periods and, solving shit and everything, and with also different historical figures for some episodes, like Vincent whatever his name is again, that painter, but, and, you could have done something really cool with this show. But yeah, the people who made this show, it's like, if they got half of the crew from TikTok and the other half of the crew, like a bunch of drunk, washed up fucking stage people at like the local bar beside Broadway. It's pathetic, and yeah, this is I have nothing else to say because any small in-depth things I have to go that I would go into with this show and each episode is the
Bruh,
same as all the other seasons. So yeah.
bruh. I'm excited to speak about it with you. I'm so excited. How did you like the episode where they were flipping fucking burgers?
Fuck me.
Oh my god.
And
They
if I want to
I'm
watch that, then I'll watch the bear, not this
God.
bullshit.
they were using the air totem to freaking flip burgers, bro. It's amazing. It's the best concept
Oh my
ever.
god. Oh my god. So you just flip a burger and boom, you take the villain? Oh my god.
They
I'm so
okay.
Yeah.
glad.
To
Yeah.
explain to you exactly what happened, there's an entire episode where their job is to save a fast food franchise by flipping fucking burger. I'm not joking. You think
Oh
I'm
my
joking? I'm not.
oh my god. It's
That's
well I
the
mean I
premise.
mean it's legends, but oh my god. I'm so glad. I'm so glad I quit the show early on because I'm
Mm-hmm.
pretty damn sure I can make an episode featuring Peppa Pig, making it one of the darkest episodes in TV history ever. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people already done that. Did you watch that Meat Canyon video of Peppa Pig?
I have not, but
Uh, you should
oh,
watch it. You should watch it.
Wait.
I'll send it to you.
Don't forget the musical episode. You know the one where
Oh,
where
fuck
they
me.
fight over Zari, the new Zari, because they're both in love and they need to compete to prove their love
Wait, you,
by
you mean
singing.
you mean the third episode? Because that was the worst episode by far.
I thought
That's like a
the
negative
regular
10 out
episode
of
was
10.
worse. I think the final
I mean,
oh,
episode
it's
was worse.
close, but oh yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Episode 2 and episode three are easily the worst, but
Wait,
yeah,
wait,
this
wait,
was
wait.
just a.
What's rock bottom? Is it the bowling episode? You remember the bowling episode where they basically play bowling and the loser
I
takes the
tried
other.
to erase that from my mind.
They play bowling to save the fate of Earth. You know, they play fucking
Uh,
bowling for 40 minutes.
oh
I'm not
my god.
joking, DC. I'm not joking.
yeah.
And the subplot of that episode was Nate being scared to live in a totem with the other Zari, because that would mean they move in together and they are adult, having adult relationship, and that would be the first adult relationship Nate has.
Yeah.
Oh
Again,
my
I
Let's talk
understand
about
what
it.
the show's going for, but you need actual talent to pull it off, and
god.
like you again, you can. I understand it's also it's obviously trying to be a bit satirical, like half of it, but it's just, you don't have the skill to pull it off. I'm sorry. Anyway, the best episode or the least shit episode, which I'd give only like a 1.5, that besides the back to the finale part 2 thing, which I wouldn't really count, it would probably be episode 14 maybe.
Wait.
But I don't know.
Did you forgot the episode? Watch out. The episode where they need to save the sitcom by making a sitcom episode. Bruh,
That
this
was
is
fucking
peak
painful.
TV. I'm not joking, DC. You think I'm joking? There's an
No.
entire episode dedicated to a stupid sitcom, and like they need to save the sitcom. It's so bad. It's bad. Man,
Wow.
pick one episode and that could be the worst the show at. Like it's the show rock bottom. Like oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's-
Again, 14's probably the least shit episode. But yeah.
Remember? Do you remember the episode where the episode? I actually forgot what I wanted to say. It's so forgettable that I forget what I want to say. Oh yeah,
Also, I would.
they played
continue.
fucking football in one episode. I'm not joking, DC.
Yeah, and I've seen church flag football that's better than it, but
They played
with a bunch
fucking
of
football.
teenagers, but
They
yep.
played
And then
fucking
let's see.
football.
That Cal Western episode was fucking garbage as hell. It was like watching A Million Ways to Die in the West. Yeah, this is the crash lands on set episode was fucking horrendous. I mean, all of them are besides like one episode, which was still horrendous, just not as much. Yeah, this also that I've seen a lot of films like The Prestige or shows that do a lot of like magic stuff, and a lot of them are really cool. Yeah, the episode 5 I think is one of the worst episode or movie things involving like magician stuff that I've seen in my entire
Oh, that's
life.
the episode where they take away Constantine powers to save some money.
Yeah, it was it was actually fucking horrendous. It was like the way it was filmed and everything. It was fuck me.
and bro, they animated parts of that episode to save even more money. Like it's no more about making a show; it's about saving money.
What?
Yeah, there was an entire part of an episode animated. I'm not joking, DC.
Oh my god.
There was like at least 10 minutes of that episode animated just to save some money. I roll my eye just to think about it. What else is really bad? Now we just mentioned like really bad episode, but the entire story of the season is not better by any means. They kill off-screen Sarah just to give you a fucking plot twist. Look, here's the new Sarah. She's alien and human at the same time. You remember Sarah from Arrow? The badass assassin from Arrow that made season 2 amazing? Killed off screen. You don't realize it because they want it to be a plot twist. They're like, look, she died again, but this time around it's for good. Bruh.
Oh my god.
My frustration toward that is so big. It's and they kill her off screen in a filler episode on top of that. And for the first half of that season, she's not even with the rest of the crew. She's lost somewhere in space. Yeah, it's just godly awful. The new Sarah is now a meme because the new Sarah is immortal. She has instant regeneration, and they play over that so much it's overplayed. Now there's one good thing, but that's that's the only good thing about that season. And even there, I don't really like the storyline at its core because it means at first Constantine need to lose part of his identity to make it work. So Constantine loses powers, and his powers were always a part of his identity. So by losing his powers, he lost part of his identity. So his crusade is to get his magic back. The idea is interesting. You find ways, and this is by using some kind of drug. And I like the crap out of that storyline. But here's the thing, it's in the middle of shitty episode like the bowling episode, the fucking sitcom shit, and the rest of the trash episode. So Cole, I want to see, or I want to hear about the Constantine storyline. What did you thought of it? What did you feel about that storyline? Did you liked it? Did you didn't like it? Um, Constantine this season.
Uh, well, I mean, the actor did well as always. As for, I mean, what they did with him, uh, I mean, I wanted to close out the tab I was watching it on, and I wanted to forgive Constantine season 1 and the only season for hating on it so much in comparison to that. And yeah.
So I thought Constantine was great until one point.
I mean, of course it was great, but what they did with him, come on.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I felt so insulted when he made him care for Zari. First of all, I don't care about their relationship. It feels forced. And second, it feels so off character. Constantine was never a serious guy that wanted serious relationship. It was never like that. He always liked to fuck around everyone and everything, but he never really cared deeply about others because he was too broken to care for others, you know? And the fact that they play around their relationship and the entire season felt so weird and off-putting for me. I'm like, that's not the Constantine we had in season 5, 4, or even it's his own TV show. It's like a brand new Constantine just for the Legends of Tomorrow show. And it's so disappointing because it was the best part of the last 3 seasons that were really terrible. But I just don't like his relationship with Zari. It just doesn't make sense. And of course he will choose magic over her. It's obvious. The fact that that magic killed him in the end was fine, I guess. Now, I'm very sad about all of that. That was back in the time they were having talks about a new Constantine TV show, and they wanted a black actor. I'm not joking. They wanted a black actor, so they were like, oh yeah, Legends of Tomorrow still has a Constantine, kill him off. And this is what Legend needed to do, kill him off. It's so sad, because now we don't even get that new Constantine show, so Constantine get a terrible ending on that show for nothing. Because there's not even a new Constantine out. It's just because reason. It's so sad. And Constantine was also always a very smart guy. But this season he felt so stupid to just play in Bishop. And speaking about Bishop, Bishop is such a terrible villain. Oh my. What did you think of Bishop?
I literally forgot he was even the main villain until you brought that up.
Yeah. I keep forgetting who the main villain in this show is, because
He wanted to clone Sarah and make the perfect race.
Yeah, whatever, garbage. No, I keep forgetting the villains are even in this show. It's like you watch episode 1 of season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow with that setup with the villain, and then you watch what the villain does from then on, and also in the other ones in this show in each season, and it's like it makes you forget it was even a villain.
Yeah, it's a one-note villain, and he is even worse in season 7 when he comes back. Bruh. Season 7. Now, I will say this, season 7 is better than 4, 5, 6, but it's nowhere near as good as 1, 2, 3. It's still better, so it gets better. I thought this
Yeah.
season was as bad as season 5.
For me, this is the worst.
For me, maybe it would be like a bit better, but would get the same grade as 5, only because Constantine. I'm a huge Constantine fan, and even if I'm not a fan of everything they did, it's still a Constantine-centric thing there, and a lot of the episodes were really centered around him, and when he was the biggest plot in the episode, it was the decent episode. Some of the episodes in season 6, because of Constantine and his stuff he's going through, are really good. I'm thinking about episode 10 and episode 14, I believe, or 15. Oh yeah, they have a freaking wedding in episode... No, never. It's 14 I like. They have a fucking wedding in episode 15. Like, this is the end of the world, and they have a wedding. It's like...
Oh my.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I knew it was something related with wedding, and it had something to do with the finale because a mutual friend of mine and Flair Sperry, we talked both on YouTube. He mentioned something like that, and even Flair Sperry said that sounded so bad. And
it's bad, but it's
oh my
legend
God.
in a nutshell. It's oh yeah, alien will invade. Let's get a wedding before that, bro. What the fuck? Really? Do you think like 5 years old are watching? And that relationship between Sarah and Eva feels so off here. Yes, the relationship was shit since season 4, but I guess it's fine. But no, it's really. Do you think like 5 years old are watching? And that relationship between Sarah and Eva feels so off here because it's not the same Sarah. It's a clone with half of human DNA and half of human alien. So it's not even the true relationship. It's just a new Sarah. It's just off-putting for me so much. If that was the true Sarah, the one that died off screen, I would be like, okay, I guess the relationship was shit since season 4, but I guess it's fine. But no, it's the new Sarah. The new fucking Sarah. She's the one that marries Eva. I feel like it's so unfair because like at that point it's like you're just that love interest. You're not a character. You don't get to love because you love the person. You just get to love because of the idea of love. I don't know if I was clear on that. Like, she's a Sarah clone. She's not Sarah, but yet Eva is still in love. So is she in love just with the idea of having love? Do you know what I mean? I think guys don't know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
No, I know. I'm just zoning out because this is so
Yeah,
fucking
so
brain dead of a show.
not only it's a bad wedding and a bad timing, but the premise of it doesn't make sense for me. It's not the Sarah. It's not like it's like they get that wedding after 6 months of relationship because she appeared 6 months ago when the other Sarah died. This is how I see it, and it doesn't make sense for me. But yeah, season 6, disaster, disgusting, really bad. What would be your grade out of 10? I think we cried and suffered enough here.
Yeah. I think we're all gonna go with 0 because that's my grade. 0. The worst.
What would be your grade, Cole?
Fuck. I mean, I don't really hand out 0 out of 10s unless I do just jokingly with stuff or stuff's like, oh, so a 1 out of 10, but just insulting. Then I'll give it like an imaginary 0 out of 10 on top of its 1 out of 10.
You
You know,
can
but
give 0.5. I did once that with the first episode
I
of
do one.
Gotham 9.
I do decimal points like 1.5, 2.5, but I don't really. Outside of that, yeah, it's just 1 to 10, though not 1.5 or whatnot. But anyhow, yeah. So I guess a 1 out of 10, but yeah, it's this is worse than any She-Hulk episode
I agree.
this season.
For me, it's a 2
Yeah.
out of 10. And the only reason why it's 2, it's Constantine. Take him out, it's a 0 for me. Constantine brings 2 points by himself. Even if I'm not a fan of everything they did, he carries that season for me. And if I ever rewatch this shit, I will just watch all of his scenes. I skip the rest. It's so bad. Anyway, man, I enjoyed this podcast here, and I will do exactly what you said. You had a great idea to fix the kind of crash I had. I will edit that thingy there. Uh, anything else, guys, would like to add? I guess not. So, DC, what do you have going on your channel? Anything you'd like to plug? Videos, stream, plans, idea?
I just plan to do one video for this month, and that's gonna be it. It's just gonna be my thoughts on the latest WrestleMania. But that's about it. Yeah.
And you, Cole, what do you have going on?
Just more binge watching films to start working on some projects involving that. Maybe start working on a future channel. But also, yeah, I'm making some stuff right now, like a tier list thing for a stream with Nerdman and other people. So yeah, yeah, you should join one of Nerdman's streams. Pretty
Yeah,
chill.
that could be interesting. So, as I said
He's
before,
with enough prep on Twitter if you don't remember, but
yeah,
yes, you can contact him that way. And yeah, again, if you guys have the time, then yeah, definitely watch that YouTube video there in the group chat, and then I'll also be posting the one scheduled thing very shortly. Yeah.
so as I said before, guys, if any of you want someone as a guest or as a regular to one of your video or podcast or whatever, you can count me in. I value what you do for me a lot. Thank you very much for coming every week and watching as much as you can the topics we cover. I'm always having a blast with the both of you. This show has grown a lot since we first started, and I'm glad of it. I'm very glad to have you on a regular basis, Cole and DC. You guys are amazing. So, with that being said, everyone, I will leave DC and Cole, Letterbox and stuff, all of the intel you need to know about them in the description below, where to find them, where to contact them. So with that being said, thank you very much, and everyone like, comment, and subscribe. And guys, have a good one and take care of yourselves.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
YouTube. Say.